video will discuss four-point refutation, also known as direct refutation. But before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe by clicking on this thing right here so you can see all the videos that are coming out, and also head over to learnparleydebate.com if you want to see a lot of this in text form. Maybe you can download it or something like that, so check that stuff out. Okay, let's talk about four-point refutation. Basically, this is used when you are responding to an argument from the other side. So even if you're on the government side, if your opposition shows any sort of argument, right, if they say anything, you need to respond to it. So here's how you do that. So this is for responding to an argument. This isn't usually initiating a new argument, but this is responding to something that the other side has said. Okay, so first thing that you do is you identify the argument. So usually you're saying, in their disadvantage one, they said that blah, blah, blah. Or in the impacts of their first disadvantage, they said blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're identifying specifically where the argument is. Typically, when debates get more advanced, on the notes that your judges have, so on their flow, you need to make sure that they know exactly where to write these responses. So typically what's happening is an argument is brought up, and then you want the judge to be able to write this response right next to it. Okay, so if you're not saying in their harms they said this, or in the background they said this, or in their solvency in the first point they said this, if you don't give us any of that information, then the judge is kind of like, I don't really know where to write this. Sometimes they'll figure it out, sometimes they don't. But really that first point of saying, this is exactly where it is. So identify the argument so that way the judge knows exactly what it is that you're responding to. Okay, so after this you're going to preview the argument. So here you're saying in their first disadvantage they said that blah, but now we're going to show that blah. Okay, so you're going to give a quick preview of we're going to show something, or this is why we're making this point. Really, this is what's being brought up here. After you've previewed the argument, then you bring in the data and the reasoning to really support your position. So they brought something up. Now you're responding to it somehow, and you're bringing in, this is the weight of the argument. So whether it's, you've got other data that you're bringing in, maybe examples, maybe you've got something specific, maybe you have, I don't know, whatever it is, but this is where the data and the reasoning are brought up. And then last, you have the impact. So this is why the judge should care. So why this is maybe more important than the other issue, how this defeats whatever the issue was that was brought up initially. But in this impact section, what you're doing is you're discussing exactly why this is an important point, why what you have just introduced is important in regard to that particular issue. Okay, so first, identify the argument. Second, preview your argument. Third, bring in your data and reasoning. And then last, make sure that you give some sort of impact as to why this is important. Okay, again, this is four-point refutation, also known as direct refutation. And if you didn't get a chance to, be sure to subscribe by clicking right over here. And thank you so much.